All right, man. Now that the preseason's officially over, we had the 53-man roster set. I want to give people their flowers. I want to give awards out. It's award season here on my channel, and you know what? It's time to show the love. I have 5 awards I'm giving out for preseason performance for the Cleveland Browns, and we're gonna start with preseason offensive player of the year. Now, this was a tough one, right? Jerome Ford made a strong push in this category. Then you also look at, Jerome Ford really just was strong this year. All right, man, it's going to Josh Dobbs, man. There's nobody else that the offensive player of the year could have went to other than Josh Dobbs. Put up a stellar preseason. I mean, let's be real. This is what Josh Dobbs does, is ball out in the preseason. He's been balling out in the preseason for quite a while now. It's going to be interesting to see if he ever gets a chance to play in the regular season in some advantageous snaps, right? I know people pointed like, oh, he threw 1 interception, like his 11 snaps. He probably was put in there in a really terrible situation. Like, if you're intentionally throwing out Josh Dobbs, what does that look like? Not as a starter, but maybe for some packages. So yeah, shout out to him. I would say Jerome Ford was probably in second, and then David Bell. David Bell's it wasn't a great year for preseason offensive player of the year voting. Josh Dobbs ran away with it, but. That is the preseason offensive player of the year. Everybody give a round of applause for the main man, for the guy, for the hero, Joshua Dobbs, right? Is that the applause? That's not. That is a rim shot. All right. Well, never mind that. No effects. All right. So shout out to Josh Dobbs. And shout out to your preseason offensive player of the year. Now let's move to a category that was much more competitive. Preseason defensive player of the year. Boy, this was a competitive category. We have guys like Martin Emerson had a pick 6, D'Anthony Bell. We had Isaac Rochelle, even Isaiah Thomas, I think, factors in there. Jordan Elliott, maybe even in there too. Just a lot of really good JOK, obviously. I mean, even though he didn't make that many plays in the preseason, he's JOK. So who was the preseason defensive player of the year? I'm going to go D'Anthony Bell. D'Anthony Bell, preseason defensive player of the year. I mean, made a play literally every time the camera was on him, right? Like every time he was out there, you saw 37 Bell making a play, making somebody fumble, getting an interception, doing something. And he rolled that all the way to making the roster. And look, I know people understand that D'Anthony Bell was a long shot to make this roster. But I don't know if people really understand how much of a long shot. This dude was a 25-year-old rookie, spent a year out of football because he couldn't afford school anymore, working in construction with his father, like literally lifting rocks and pushing a wheelbarrow. Goals when he was at Butler Community College, and that's the original place he was, couldn't find a scholarship because he didn't have the grades, ended up going to West Florida. I'm a fan of lower level college football. I've never heard of West Florida. That's a very, very small school. So he goes to West Florida, somehow ends up on the Cleveland Browns radar as a undrafted candidate. Maybe. I don't even know if he was undrafted. I think he probably was a rookie camp guy. Like, hey, let's bring him in for a rookie camp. And then he made the all OTA roster. Then he made the training camp roster at the very bottom of it and just kept nipping his way up. And now it's to the point to where I would not be surprised, and you heard it here first, if D'Anthony Bell ends up taking snaps at the slot for this team. Not a lot. Maybe in some blitz situations, but he has an eye for the football, a nose for the football, decent enough in coverage, quick guy, long guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up fitting himself into that role. He's definitely going to be a key on special teams. Just an incredible story D'Anthony Bell was able to put together this preseason. Like long shot of like this is the defensive equivalent of if Damian Chihi made the team, right? Remember when he was trying to make the team and he was like sleeping? Like similar story, man. So just so happy for the guy. He has I know these awards are kind of tongue in cheek because they're preseason awards, but truly deserves this honor. Rookie of the year will go to Martin Emerson. I think he has showed a lot. Look, I'm not a fan of tall corners. Y'all know I'm not a fan of tall corners. And by the way, Martin Emerson was not the favorite to win this award on this channel. Y'all know it was Perion Winfrey. Perion Winfrey did not win that award, to say the least. It's Martin Emerson. But I'm not a fan of tall corners. I have a reason. I feel like tall corners, they lack good hips most of the time. They don't recover well a lot of the times. Even though they're long, they're not necessarily quick, have great agility. And tall corners can be stiff, and sometimes they're terrible tacklers, right? And, Martin Emerson, he's a tall corner. He's a 6'2 corner, 6'1 corner. He's a big guy. And with tall corners, you have to see if they're going to be Pierre Desir or are they going to be Antonio Cromartie. I think he's Antonio Cromartie more so than that. He looks like he has good hand placement already. He looks like he has good fighting techniques. He's a really good corner. He's a really good corner. I think he's already ready to take NFL snaps, which I did not expect to say from him. I think he's going to be out there in games, and I think he's going to do a good job there because he just has put together just such a stellar offseason and preseason. Martin Emerson might end up being a gem there in the third round. I don't know if he's going to be like a shutdown guy, but he's definitely going to be a really good corner in NFL, in my opinion. So I'm excited about what they got out of Martin Emerson. All right, let's go to the next award. And this award is the Carlton Mitchell Award. Now, what is the Carlton Mitchell Award? This is in reference to Carlton Mitchell, former wide receiver of the Cleveland Browns, more famous for a Tony Rizzo rant. But also, Carlton Mitchell was a player that had a good preseason, that excited fans, and fans, because of that, never shut up about Carlton Mitchell while he was on the team. Always got to be Carlton Mitchell, got to play more, all this stuff, right? So who is the Carlton Mitchell Award winner, right? Mike Woods might factor into that conversation. Mike Harley definitely factors into that conversation. I think Isaac Rochelle factors into that conversation. But who is the Carlton Mitchell Award winner? It's certainly not Anthony Schwartz. It is, I would say, with confidence, it's Michael Woods II. I think it's Michael Woods II. I think he's going to be a good player. I think Michael Woods is going to be okay. I don't think he ends up being Carlton Mitchell, right? Like, that's not what I'm trying to say about Michael Woods. But what I am saying about Michael Woods is it's going to be one of those things where wide receivers are going to struggle. Anthony Schwartz is going to be out there and drop a ball. And everybody's going to ask, why isn't Michael Woods in the game? This is going to be a thing. We are going to do this. And look, you could tell me that it's not going to happen, that I'm tripping, but I've been doing this for quite a long time, being on like a YouTuber for the Browns. I know how people react to these things, and I know y'all can't help yourselves. Y'all going to ask for some Michael Woods eventually. Y'all probably asking for him right now. Right? You know what I mean? And that doesn't mean that Michael Woods is bad. Michael Woods is a good player. I think he has a great future with this team, and I think he could truly develop into something. But I also think that we're going to be calling for Michael Woods in week 2, and I don't think that's necessarily a good plan for him. So let's go over it all. The Carlton Mitchell Award winner, Michael Woods. Offensive Player of the Year, almost by default, Josh Dobbs. Defensive Player of the Year through tough competition was DeAnthony Bell. Rookie of the Year went to Martin Emerson. MVP. Who is the preseason MVP? Now, again, DeAnthony Bell factors into this conversation. I think Josh Dobbs factors into this conversation. I think you can run around and have Jerome Ford come back. But ultimately, I'm going to give the MVP also to DeAnthony Bell. Look, winning doesn't matter in the preseason for standings, but every time DeAnthony Bell was out there, he made a play that brought the Browns closer to winning. Like he just made big-time plays when he was on the field. He was very impressive. He almost made the fourth quarter of these preseason games must watch from a defensive perspective, and that's rare. I really am intrigued from him because if somebody shines, and this is just my kind of personal thing, when somebody from a big school looks good in the fourth quarter of a preseason game, I'm less excited about it just because it's like that's kind of the same level of competition. But when somebody from like West Florida looks like a superstar in the fourth quarter of a preseason game, you start to wonder, did he just fly under the radar? Did we get a secret gem? Because it looks like he's a secret gem. Again, I want to see him do more. I want to see him in coverage. I want to see what the plan is for him because I don't think the plan is just exclusively special teams. I think he's going to play some on the defense, and I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. I'm interested about it. So preseason MVP, DeAnthony Bell. Josh Dobbs came in a close second, but it ended up going to DeAnthony Bell. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Who are your preseason award winners? Let me know. And if you have any unique preseason awards, let's give them out down below. But again, guys, thank you for watching. You have a great day. Have a good night.